Call to order the meeting of Fitchburg Public Safety and Human Services for January 10th, 2023. Our attending tonight, myself, Alder Strassman, and Alan, so we have our full quorum. Public appearances for non-agenda items, we have none. So next it would be the agenda item 3, Alpha and Bravo, the consent agenda, which includes approval minutes and change of agent for Aldi. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Alan. So the minutes, it was about a month and a half ago, or close to a month and a half ago that we met the last time. I've read through them. I did not have any questions, nor do I have any questions about the change of agent for Aldi. Do either of you have any?
No.
See none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. Next, for Alpha, consideration of following fermented malt beverages and intoxicating liquor license. Class B fermented malt beverage retail license and reserve Class B intoxicating liquor license, Benjamin's Fine Wine and Spirits LLC. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Ben, would you like to, we understand you'll be at an existing location where there, previously was liquor sales there. Would you like to tell a little about your business?
I'm happy to, as long as I'm not wasting the committee's time. Right. Okay. I founded my business, my company, in 2005 in Milwaukee. It was a small wine store on Brady Street in Milwaukee in 2005. Thankfully, luckily, wonderfully for me, it's grown. I have 3 locations now, one on Farwell Street in Milwaukee, one in Green Bay, and one in Delafield. Because of industry connections, I actually know Randy Wallet, who owns Steve's on McKee Road, as he calls it, the Steve's on McKee Road. He is looking to retire, and actually there's a ton of goodwill going into the transaction. I am looking to buy the store from him, and he would retire, and then I would be running Steve's McKee Road. I would change the name over the course of 2 months. I get to keep the name Steve's for 2 months. I think you all probably know there are 3 Steve's in the Madison area. They're independently owned, but somewhat associated. So it would remain Steve's for 2 months, and then it would change the name to Waterford Wine and Spirits, which is the same as my other 3. And so it would join the family, if you will. The transaction is set to happen on February 1st. So if approved, if the liquor license is approved, I would own that location on February 1st. I think maybe the biggest change for Fitchburg is that Steve's McKee Road operates under Class A, and I'm looking for that Class B special license. I'm not looking to create a tavern or really an on-premise drinking space. What I'm looking for is that my company has done wine tasting seminars for the last 18 years. And the only way to fit those seminars into Wisconsin law is to have a Class B. So what we're really looking for in the Class B is the ability to sit down and have a classroom experience in tasting wine. And that's really the only difference that I think business operational wise the city of Fitchburg should see in any way.
Ben, who will you don't live here, who will manage the store for you?
A gentleman named Pat Miller. He actually grew up in Waupun, graduated from Madison, and then was out on the East Coast for 20 years. He is, and maybe this is not a nice way to say it, but I'll say it anyway. I've experienced in the wine industry many COVID refugees, if you will. Because of COVID, because of what happened on the East Coast, he had some very strong life-changing experiences. and he also needed to come back and help his parents with life experiences. So he moved back to Waupun. I know Waupun is not Madison, but he was living in Baltimore, and his commute in Baltimore was an hour and a half. So coming down 151 is actually a much easier commute. So he would be the store manager and the wine buyer of the Steve's McKee Road, which would become Waterford Wine and Spirits on McKee Road.
Fair enough. My own question, I just want to make sure you had someone you knew and trusted.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
be on-site present. Okay.
Yeah.
Jay and Shannon, any questions for Ben?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So you're not going to get involved in the other two Steve's locations? Are they going to remain open as they are?
They're going to remain open as they are. Of course, when I started talking with Randy about the Steves, I wasn't sure of their corporate ownership, so I don't want to put words to anyone's mouth. Randy owns this one entirely, so I'm buying it from Randy, and he's retiring. The university store, I think, is entirely separately owned. I do believe Randy owns some of the Junction Street store, or the Junction store, or the West Side store, as they call it. But those three are all separate business enterprises. And unlike how the Steves have formed themselves over the years, this would all be under my I mean, I don't feel like I'm large enough to call it a corporate umbrella, but my company would own all four of my stores. So there's no separate division between the Delafield store and what would become the Fitchburg store.
All right. Now, the license you're asking for tonight gives you the ability to do the wine tastings you were talking about. So I know in the past, Steve's had done some Scotch tastings and things like that, but they had to do them in a different location. They sponsored them, but they had to do it in a different location because of the type of license they have here. And I don't think that this license allows for that. I think it's only for wine. Isn't that correct, Tracy?
He actually has a full Class B liquor license, so he can do any type of tasting that he wants.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's Scotch, whiskey, brandy, wine. If in the future he wanted to create a bar under the conditional use with planning and zoning, he could do that. He does have that type of appropriate license.
Okay. These Wisconsin liquor licenses are very confusing. And then what was the other question I had? Oh, do you anticipate that the inventory of what you sell is going to change much?
I don't. I can go into this in greater detail, but I'll try and keep it short because you're probably not interested in why I'm buying this business. To keep it short, my businesses right now, the three stores that are on the eastern side of Wisconsin, we sell 90% wine and 10% spirits. And the Steve store on McKee Road actually sells a third wine, beer, spirits. To me, this represents a great opportunity for both the Fitchburg store and for my other three stores, but they're very different from one another. So Steve's in Fitchburg is selling a lot of spirits, which my stores don't currently do because we sell almost all wine. My hope is that I can blend the four stores together so that the four stores can sell, I'm an entrepreneur, so the four stores can sell a very nice amount of wine and a very nice amount of spirits as well. So that's my hope. But right now, my stores are very much dominated by wine. It's very unusual in the wine industry because most wine stores are actually just liquor stores. And sorry, that sounds negative, but I don't mean it that way. But you walk into McKee Road, and Randy would say this, it's what you would consider a liquor store, Whereas if you come into my stores on the southeast or on the south side of Wisconsin, south, sorry, getting my directions mixed up. If you come into any of my other stores, they're almost purely and wholly wine. Very no beer whatsoever, and then all spirits. So there would be a change in what Steve's is selling right now, with the hope that we could sell more wine there. I think maybe the biggest change is right now Steve's and More has a tobacco license, and I'm not going to apply for that. If that mattered to the city of Fitchburg at all, we just wouldn't be selling tobacco.
No, the only thing that matters to me is that Steve's specifically sells a lot of spirits to me. And so, and because they have specific things that I cannot get anywhere else, I want to be sure those things aren't going away. But
Yes,
that's
yeah.
obviously not a condition of your license application.
Yeah.
Always like to have selfish motivations, right?
Yeah. So,
Any other questions for Ben? No. Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of the Class B fermented malt beverage retail license and reserve Class B intoxicating liquor license for Benjamin's Fine Wine and Spirits LLC, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank
Hey,
you,
just
Ben.
one other quick
Thank
question,
you.
Benjamin, before we move on. The Steve's store in Fitchburg is a pretty large store. It's even large compared to their other two stores. How does it compare to your stores, your other wine stores?
again, stop me. I love talking about this, but stop me if I go on too long. It would be physically, the physicality of that store would make it the largest Waterford wine and spirit store. So it would be the largest. It's about 5,600 square feet. The next largest one I have is 3,600 square feet. By sales volume, what it sells right now, it would actually come in second place to my Farwell store, which is in downtown Milwaukee. My feeling, and again, this gets into my excitement over the purchase, is that the Fitchburg store would actually kind of become the dominant store of my retail group. I think there's a ton of opportunity, a ton of learning that my company can do based off of Randy's many years of being in Fitchburg. Maybe more to your point, what I see in the Fitchburg store is my Milwaukee store carries about 6,500 SKUs. So 6,500 different wines or spirits. Randy's store at McKee Road is now more like 2,500. And if I could show you this online, or you could look at my stores online. If I change the racking, and we have a local Wisconsin furniture maker that makes all our racking. If I change the racking, I think we could bump that McKee Road store up to like 15,000 different wines or spirits or liquors, or beers, which would frankly make it one of the world's most largest selection of spirits and wines. I mean, it would be an amazing place. I mean, that's a hope, that's a dream, but it's exciting to me. So if not to bore you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Best of luck with your endeavor. We appreciate
Okay.
appreciate you,
Thank you.
wanting to do business in Pittsburgh. Okay. Next, we have an operator's license requiring special attention, and we have Miguel Fene. Is that pronounced right, or would it be Fene, Michael? Miguel.
Benny.
Fene?
Yep.
Okay. This was, Michael applied for operator's license it would be a Quick Trip, Miguel?
Yep.
Okay. As I read through, the police denied this based on a current charge you have that has not been resolved. So has there been any change in that, in that status? Has it been resolved yet, Miguel?
The charge is going to be dropped upon completion of probation. So that's what I'm waiting for, I guess, at this point, is to finish that.
So is that drop the fit, it's hard for me, I'll let the other members weigh in. It's hard for me to approve when there's a current charge, and I won't go into it. I think you all read it, until that's resolved, is my thought on it. As soon as it's resolved, I guess I could consider it, but Jay and Shannon, your thoughts?
That would be my same thought too.
I'm a little confused on this.
You have to read all the way to the end, Jay.
Well,
Are you looking at?
So it's showing
looking
this
at the-
DUI on 10/3 of 2011, and then there's another one on 12/5 of 22.
No, that's when the officer the police officer did the.
Oh, that's
did the
when
report since the
we.
March.
So this is
What
a
was
charge.
that?
This is a charge from 2011.
No, it's from 2020. I believe it's March 2022,
Yep.
and it has not been. It's hard for me. I'm nothing against you personally, Miguel, but until it's resolved, I don't feel like I can take action on that.
Yep, so the decision at the court was, we could have fought it and put it to bed, as is, or whatever, however that would have worked out, but, I didn't want this charge on my record at all. So the deal was to plead guilty to the lesser charges and do an 18-month probation period, or a 24-month with a 6-month, basically good times, because I've been sober since the incident. And then upon completion of probation and supervision, that charge would be dropped. They wouldn't make any decision on that charge until that was completed, basically.
Understood.
When is that completed?
18 months from September. So I think it's March 2024. I believe.
Is that, nothing against personally, when I think it was I'm not trying to judge you, Miguel, I think you probably regret kind of a foolish decision on your part, but, again, I'm in charge of, ensuring the public safety, and I would just feel better about it, if you completed those conditions, and shown the good faith, to approve this. I'm sorry, it's how I feel. I'm nothing against you personally, but I feel that would be the better course, for the city to take on this. I'm not trying to prevent you from working and things, but I just feel you completing the conditions of that would show the good faith that I'd be, I wouldn't have any hesitation to approve at that time.
Right, and that's the thing, is that this doesn't affect my employment whatsoever.
It's just the liquor, just the liquor sales there. Is that
Yep.
correct?
So I mean, you guys know that it's in order for me to sell anything on site, there has to be somebody on site who has licensing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's really the only.
Okay.
I mean, they couldn't leave me there with other people who didn't.
Okay.
That's
My-
correct. As long as he's under the direct supervision of somebody that holds a license, he can.
Right, so there's no issue with my employment when it comes to that, it's just, it's really understanding what the situation is and how I can go about getting what I need to,
Right.
Understood.
be able to move forward.
Well,
And Miguel, if Miguel is denied tonight, he does have the opportunity to reapply 6 months after the denial.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, Shannon, Jay, your thoughts? I don't want to dominate the conversation here totally. I'm for denial at this point, and I hope Miguel would come, show us the good faith and give us another chance to approve this in the future.
I would approve it in 18 months or close to
Yeah.
whenever he's done with his probation.
That's my thought too.
I think it would
let's-
open up a whole can of worms if we approve this one, and people have the same similar situation.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, just for proper etiquette, when it comes to the meeting, we have to do a motion to approve.
Yeah,
So to have this discussion and then,
and we'll have the vote.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chase. Can I have a motion to approve the operator's license for Miguel Jose Fene?
So moved.
So moved by Alan, okay. Any more discussion?
No, I don't have anything.
Then we'll
well,
call.
then if you wanted to deny now, because we kind of did the motion after
Yeah.
the discussion. Now, if you want to actually amend the motion and then deny,
Well-
Can we
you haven't called the vote.
just not approve on the vote? Wouldn't that deny it, Tracy? We don't, we call the motion and we don't approve it, it's denied.
I think a formal denial would be better because then we could send that certified letter letting him know
Okay.
that he
All right.
can reapply.
Could I have a motion to deny this operator's license?
I'll make a motion to deny this
Okay,
operator's
moved by-
license.
Moved by Strassman.
Yeah.
We'll call the vote. All in favor of denial signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hey, Miguel, so you've heard from us that it is denied. Again, nothing personal. We hope to see you again in the future. We wish you the best with meeting the conditions of the situation, but I think you understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, definitely. What I got on the letter sounded a little different as to why there was a denial. It made it seem like the application was falsified or there was misleading information on it. So it made more sense to hear from you guys what the situation was, because the way it came in the letter didn't make sense to me.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to come. We've talked it out. I think you know where we stand on this, and we wish you the.
Yeah,
we wish you the-
just to clarify that point, I think given the type of charge that's on here, there's a question on the application that said, did you have any alcohol-related violation other than A, B, C, D, and E? And to that question, you answered no. And this particular charge that is being dealt with here is clearly an alcohol-related charge. So that the answer to that question should have been yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
why they offered that guideline about falsifying the application.
So was the question that, do you have a charge or a conviction?
The question is, have you been charged? Any so within the last 10 years, have you been arrested for, received a summons to appear in court for, or paid a fine for any of the following? And that one, any alcohol-related violation other than A, B, C, D, and E. So, I mean, I presume you've received a summons at least, because so the answer to number F should have been yes, and that's why the police department said it was a falsified thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense then, because I took that as a conviction, because that's when I put where I put the DUI that was even outside the window that was
right. So
specified.
Understandable, Miguel.
So the
Understandable.
second one where you put the specific thing, where you put the DUI from 2011, that one is about convictions. But the section number 3 is about, have you ever been arrested for, received a summons, or paid a fine?
Okay. That makes
So
perfect sense.
when you reapply, keep that in mind.
Right.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, item 7A, our next meeting is January 24th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Alan, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a bit.